Hey guys, it's Josh from Apt at CES 2014 with Joost from OCZ. We've got two drives here. How are you today, Joost?
I'm fine and very welcome in our suite in the Venetian.
Thank you very much. I see we've got two drives, and they have a very big difference, cater to different people, different types of groups, and are definitely for different types of applications. Can you kind of give us the idea of what these new OCZ drives can offer people?
Yeah. Well, at first, we've got the Vertex 460, which is built for the normal consumer. And we're talking about usage in laptops and normal PCs. The other drive, the Intrepid 3000 series, is built for server use. And I'll get back to that type of usage just a little later. The update for the Vertex 460 is coming from the Vertex 450. The difference between the two drives is the type of flash that we're using. The 450, we're using the micron flash, which has a certain characteristic.
Okay.
And the upgrade on the 460 is that we're using Toshiba flash, which has a completely different architecture. What does that mean is that we're sacrificing a little bit of the capacity and make it much stronger in endurance. So the life cycle of the whole product will be longer than that. To indicate that, for example, when we're talking about the Vertex 450, we had an endurance of 10 gigabyte writes, host writes per day for 3 years long, every single day, which is very severe use in reality. The 460, nevertheless, has double that the capacity per day. So 20 host writes per day. 20 gigabytes.
And that's due to the redesigned architecture to accommodate the Toshiba flash?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
However, when you're talking about a server, that's a completely different ballgame. Imagine yourself that you're working in a bank and there's 250 colleagues. And you all come in at the same time at 9 o'clock in the morning and you're all booting up your system. Can you imagine what's happening in a server? The server is going completely crazy because there's 250 boots going to that server.
Right.
And then the type of data is completely different also. It's all this so-called sequential data, what a hard drive is very good at, is it's turning into random data, which a hard drive is terrible at.
Okay.
So what you need is an SSD because an SSD is being designed to do reads and writes at the same time. Looking at the comparison between a consumer drive and a professional drive is that the professional drives, we're not talking about gigabyte per day, we're talking about drive writes per day. So, and that's a completely different ballgame. That's a multitude of usage of data that goes through that drive every single day.
So in the world of just consumers, they're looking for, how fast can it read and write, and that's what's on their mind. And when you look at these two drives, how does that apply?
Actually, it's pretty much the same. There's not a very distinctive difference between the two. But when I was just describing a little bit how the data goes into a server, and the reads and writes on a server is of a lesser importance than the IOPS, the inputs, output per second. So when you have those 250 people booting up their system, there's 250 requests to that server, and that server needs to do the same thing 250 times. When you put that in a laptop, it's one request. And so the data is different. It's just one stream of data, making it more sequential, as it's called.
Okay.
So, and that's way easier, where reads and writes become more important. But then one of the characteristics, the whole architecture of the drives, is that what you see these days is all the drives are like 550 megabytes per second. And it's great, but that's fresh out of the box.
Right.
What happens after 2 months, 4 months, 6 months? You still want that same performance, right? This will give that to you. Because of the over-provisioning what we're using, so a bit of that capacity that we're sacrificing,
right,
it will allow the drive to be able to perform the exact same way in 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 months, throughout its whole life cycle.
Now, that's relatively a newer technology for SSD, because hasn't it, like previous to these series, kind of degrade in speed over time rather quickly, like you described?
Yeah, that's really the newer generation of controllers. They do provide that capability, at least for us.
Well, it's a huge advancement for Flash, and we love Flash.
Yeah, flash and cash.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right,
You're
guys.
welcome.
You can find out more information about what's going on here at CES 2014. I'm Josh.